Welcome back to America Right Now. I'm Tom Basile. Holidays. They're so important that socialists are now attacking them all year long. You know, early on, a critical part of the Bolsheviks' attempt to change the culture of Russia was to attack and change the country's traditional holidays. Sound familiar? Well, it should. Here in the United States, the roadmap for leftist infiltration and transformation was laid out very clearly by the infamous 45 points compiled by researcher and author Cleon Skousen in the 1950s. We've talked about them on the show before. Includes the following. Number 27, infiltrate the churches and replace revealed religion with social religion, like climate change or something like that. 31, belittle all forms of American culture and discourage the teaching of American history. That's happening too. And number 32, support any socialist movement to give centralized control over any part of the culture, education, social agencies, welfare programs, and mental health clinics. The American left is seeking to remake this country, and they know that our holidays, both religious and secular, are an important part of our history and our national identity. Holidays at their core aren't just about what we do, but rather what they mean. Socialists and other radicals have been chipping away at our holidays through media and government and schools for years, and now it's time to acknowledge this assault. It goes far beyond the war on Christmas. Today, Thanksgiving is about colonization, abuse of Native Americans, and white supremacy rather than religious liberty. Columbus Day is about brutality and slavery rather than exploration, risk-taking, and determination. Easter is now just some kind of generic spring holiday on the calendar, rather than the holiest of days commemorating the resurrection of Christ. Independence Day has become this generic July 4th holiday, and I bet a lot of young people in this country don't even know why we celebrate it anymore. Some places are even canceling their annual celebrations. It now has Juneteenth as competition, a holiday that the left uses not to commemorate the freeing of slaves and our slow march to a more perfect union, but rather as a reminder of America's alleged systemic racism. President's Day's barely mentioned these days, aside from sales at your local car dealership. If anything, it's become just a time for left-wing teachers to tell their students that George Washington was a slave owner. Of course, replacing Merry Christmas with Happy Holidays, first done more than a century ago to commemorate Advent and Christmas to religious holidays, has been used to diminish the importance of the liturgical calendar in favor of a secular one. Taking Christ out of Christmas isn't just about consumerism, but erasing mention of his birth entirely. Now, this effort took on new dimension with the creation and promotion of Kwanzaa as a secular competitor to Christmas. Here's Vice President Kamala Harris, hearkening back to those days of celebrating Kwanzaa with her family.
Growing up, Kwanzaa was always a special time. We came together with generations of friends and family and neighbors. There were never enough chairs, so my sister and I and the other children would often sit on the floor, and together we lit the candles of the Kinara.
Always. Generations. Of course, almost no one celebrated the holiday when she was a kid. Few do now. Her extended family is Indian, and there are interestingly no photos of her celebrating Kwanzaa as a child. Kwanzaa was created in 1966 by the leader of a radical paramilitary black nationalist cult who would later spend 4 years in prison for torturing 2 naked women. This 7-day cultural festival just happens to start the day after Christmas, and it can also overlap with Hanukkah. As a secular holiday, schools across America have free rein to discuss it in classrooms as part of cultural lessons, while Christmas and Hanukkah are often relegated to increasingly nondescript decorations that are void of all religiosity. We are not far from Father's Day and Mother's Day becoming too offensive to celebrate without some modifications from our socialist watchdogs. The left, again in an effort to confuse and disrupt, will at once suggest that there is no objective biblical truth and then rationalize redefining our holidays to promote more accurate truth about religion, history, and culture. But none of this is about culture. It's about confusion and control. I suppose we're all fortunate that the secular left wing in this country doesn't realize that our calendar itself was instituted by the Roman Catholic Church in the 1500s. When they do, they'll likely propose new names for the months and days of the week, too, as radical French revolutionaries did in the 18th century. The left will tell you that this is all in the name of inclusion and even preserving democracy. Well, aside from the fact that we don't live in a democracy, we live in a republic, wouldn't a true democracy accede to the wishes of the vast majority rather than foolishly attempt to make everyone happy by marginalizing their beliefs? The diminishing of traditional holidays on our calendars with new ones, like International Human Rights Day, has nothing to do with inclusion or equity. It has everything to do with creating those social religions and degrading our patriotism. So, talk to your children about the importance of holidays. They're not just an excuse to get a day off or to spend money. They have real meaning that connects us to our history and to each other. Our traditional religious and secular holidays make us stronger. They are times to come together, have fun, and count our blessings. And it is for that reason and that reason only that they terrify the socialists and the leftists in this country. So it would be a great gift this Christmas season to teach our younger generation that celebrating our traditional holidays all year long is a service to both God and country.